there are other aspects of leadership that are potentially worth examining from an OB perspective. I won't say more about the misuse of power and influence because it was already addressed in the previous session. However, another likely factor is the phenomenon of obedience to authority, which Gary mentioned briefly. Some may be familiar with Dr. Stanley Milgram's obedience to authority experiments that were conducted in the late 1950s and 1960s. Milgram found that many well-intentioned individuals would do bad things if directed to do so by a legitimate authority figure. Sometimes those directives could even be implicit. Obedience to authority, both formal and informal, is prevalent throughout the church. If you're like me, many Catholics in the room might have been taught and raised that it was wrong to criticize a priest, pope, or bishop. Priests must be obedient to their bishop. Bishops and cardinals are obedient to the pope. In its most extreme form, Father Maciel, the founder of the Legionaries of Christ, exploited a very strict vow of obedience to enable his evil double life, which involved a long history of sexual abuse and sexual misconduct with children and adults, women and men. The legionary vow of obedience required a total renunciation of their judgment and will, and to never critically examine or disagree with the order. Now, obedience to authority is not inherently bad, but the potential for misuse and abuse exists.